Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for The Wheel of Time Season 3 on Amazon Prime Video. Any kind of problems I have with this season is mainly down to Amazon chucking ads into shit and fucking with the flow of shit. That's the main thing. Other than that, this season actually worked pretty well. I'd almost liken it to that 90s show where it's in the third season and it really got its groove. Hopefully we don't have the same kind of repeat with Netflix being like, hey bitch, whap, and then just fucking canceling it. This worked out, interestingly enough. We'll have to see what kind of changes go on. I mean, out of any kind of property that can do like changes with adaptations, this one can definitely work out better in it, i.e. another kind of turning of the wheel, a different kind of way that everything kind of goes here. And the thing is, I've had a long kind of time between this and season 2, and this seemed to work out even though we did a kind of departure. Instead of Rand going for Tyr for Kalendor, he decided more in this season to go to the Aiel Waste and get the Aiel army, which kind of makes more kind of sense when it's like he'll take the Stone of Tyr kind of shit and like, oh, here we go. Works with the Aiel and does everything like that. And it kind of worked with how it was kind of metered out throughout this season. Our main kind of stories are dealing with, of course, Rand going to the Aiel Waste and everything that kind of happens there. Perrin going to Two Rivers and him learning leadership and everything like that, dovetailing with Fael's introduction. And then we pretty much have Nynaeve and Elaine having to deal with kind of like the Black Aja and going to Tanchinko and having Matt kind of linked up with that as well. So we start off with the big kind of thing of the Black Aja making their move in the first kind of episode. Oh, and the thing is, I'm doing this whole season-wise. Well, it also works that, like, the last episode was done, like, last week. However, I've got this whole kind of thing that if it's, like, 2 or more episodes that premiere, and Amazon's like, hey, here's 3, motherfucker, I wait for the entire season, because otherwise I then have to juggle the fact of either doing one giant fucking review for 3 episodes, or do 1 episode, do the review, then watching the other episode, do a review, and then all that. It's just like, ah! So it was kind of easier to also see how this works out and how it kind of flows together with the season. And I think this was a very solid season. They kind of understood what they were doing, and they executed on that. Whether you like that execution, that's down to your preference. I think that even with anything kind of going on, the effects were very well done. We didn't get, like, completely weird ass fucking complicated kind of things. We got some really good costuming. We got some really kind of cool characters introduced. Fuck, we also got Swain Sanchi and dealing with the kind of fallout on the Black Aja at the tower, which introduces some crazy ass shit with Elida being introduced. And I love that Elida is played by the actress that does Avasarala from The Expanse. I wonder if that worked out with anything with Amazon having The Expanse and being like, hey, how about her? And they're like, thank you. She's a really good actress, and she made me hate Elida's character in this. She fucking just rocked it. So, we see the Black Aja make their move and start racking wholesale ass in the tower. Brutal deaths and shit. Awesome kind of weaves kind of going on. Shit gets real. 90 pretty much gets tanked out. And even though it went on for a little bit longer than I would have liked, her block does get resolved in this season. Well, it is showcased like it gets resolved in this season, but we will see if that is the case going forward. Also depending upon if it gets renewed for season 4. Fact. Alright, let's see here. So, Leandrin's pretty much like, fuck off! Haha! And that whole thing goes kind of crazy. Alana loses one of her warders, Ivan. We pretty much get Egwene to kind of like thunder rush herself through the arches, pretty much detailing what can go wrong with Rand, so that way she can travel with him to the Aiel Wastes. They also get beset by Greymen, like, just stabbing shit, which is like, holy fucking shit. And we get that Moraine's kind of working with Lanfear a little bit to kind of like break some shit up. I mean, Nynaeve gets stabbed like a mother. I'm like, is she gonna die? And then she gets healed, but it's like, there's a lot of those moments with like, what the fuck? And also a lot of good funny character moments. Mainly with Matt, and then of course Alana and her surviving warder, Maxim, later on. Maxim? Scroll. Maxim, yes. Okay. I just wanted to. Let's see. But we see that this, instead of sending the Gray Man, that Machidian is the one that's been doing shit. And she gets really built up this season where it's like, yeah, these people are like, she's one of the weakest. And she's doing some crazy ass goddamn motherfucking shit. Sending Gray Man, making a Gray Man, which is like crazy. Her use of being called the Spider and everything going on, and the actress that they got for her. She fucking sells that role. Gets that one dude to turn into a Gray Man and sends his ass later on to like attack shit. At the end, we see her killing one of the other Forsaken, Samael, and just, it's like, oh god, we've got some crazy ass shit going on here. And the thing is, I was annoyed by her in the right way. I.e., she is a competent asshole villain that does skeevy ass shit, and they annoy the fucking shit out of you, and you're like, I want your comeuppance. Lanfear kind of also gets that as well, as she's pretty much fucking and trying to turn Rand to her side, but then, of course, is also attempting to kill Egwene in Teleran Riod. Yes. If I think about saying that, it gets squirrely, especially with certain kind of pronunciations. If I pronounce it kind of differently than how they do it in the show, it's just mainly having read it in my head. Sometimes I've got a different kind of pronunciation that kind of goes on, like Rudian and Machidian. Yes. Okay. So, the group's pretty much almost fucked up and killed here, but they're able to kind of get out, so they decide to break up and everything. Matt decides to stay with Nynaeve to kind of, like, get his head on straight, and Loyal goes with Perrin as well as Bane and Chiad, because Loyal was pretty much saved their lives. So, let's kind of see here. How do we want to do this? Because they do a really good job of balancing all the different kind of storylines and not having completely and utterly insane transitions that happen. That mainly only happens because I'm gonna put ads in place even though this fucking show was not made to have ads in place. You know where you'd have certain kind of old school TV shows, at least since I was growing up with cable, because there was a time where cable had no ads because you paid for the fucking service, and that paid for the fucking service. Yes, I know it's stupid to bring that shit up. However, it affected the enjoyment of this, and it's stupid because it doesn't need to be fucking done. Ugh. So, which one do I want to... Well, we see that after the whole thing going on with the tower, Alana and Maxim... Alana is attempting to kind of build up an army, and decides to go check out the Two Rivers because they got a lot of fucking people coming out of there, so it's just like, I might find some Chandlers, I might find some other kind of, like, badass motherfuckers. Let's kind of check this shit out. Maxim's like, we should go for Leandrin because I want vengeance for our warder friend. Well, lover, friend. What? Not friend. I don't know why I said warder friend. It's like, warder, friend, lover, companion. All that stuff. It's more than just one word. But it's like, his lover and their lover, and Alana's like, we need... The last battle's fucking coming, we need to fucking do this shit. So, we see that Trollocs and shit are kind of fucking up the Two Rivers, and that, Dane... Dane? Yes, Dane Bornhold, and the Children of the Light are there, and Valda finally gets his fucking comeuppance. Padden Fane pops up as well. We see Perrin training them and being like, yeah, I'm fucking scared. We get the Tuathon brought in, Aram as well. That... Even though I'm kind of going into, like, focusing on each storyline, I do like the dovetailing of what we learned at the Aiel and having that linked up more with Aram's story here. That is one point thing that I think this adaptation does better of putting those kind of two together, where we learn about how the Aiel used to be of the way of the leaf, of the Tuathan, the Tingers, and decided to then pick up the spear and just follow the way of the spear. And seeing how that dovetails like that with Arm's story, where he's helping out and decides to pick up a sword and protect this baby and kill a Trolloc. And of course, that sets him off of following Perrin and everything. We see that Perrin tries to work out and work with the Children of the Light, but that doesn't fit very well because they took Matt's mother and sisters, and Valda fucking burned the mother at the stake because she took the heat of that her daughters could channel. And it's like, oh shit. However, we also see that Hunters of the Horn are there with Fael, and then linking up. This is one of those like the big kind of like relationship ones. I like the actress that they got for Fael, and Perrin. He had got like injured and everything, and he tells Fael, "Yeah, my friend found the horn and blew it and everything." She's like, "You fucking did jump," and it's like, yeah, I get it. That's mainly after the major kind of battle, as Perrin has decided to become that thing which the Two Rivers needs, and just goes whole ass ham, axes and axe and hammer swinging. Alana pretty much was dead to rights for a good amount of bit. She has some nice cool moments with Maxim, and I really felt for her character trying to do all this kind of stuff and dealing with her grief over Ivan. Let's see. And then I'm thinking of Matt and everything. Let's see. This is where he's then kind of and then seeing Fael in the background being the kind of rogue backing up his kind of fighter stance and everything was really kind of awesome, and seeing how well they work together. But we see that he attempted to get the Children of Light to work with them against the Trollocs, but he's like, fuck you, man. It's like, alright, and then pops up and be like, yeah, we'll kind of help you. We didn't see any Trollocs. Patton Payne popped up and like, motherfucker, and then pretty much is trying to kill everybody, and Perrin pretty much was like, yeah, I'll give myself up to you if you like help the people out. I was like, fine, I'll do that. And then he gets healed and everything, and the children kill Valda, Matt's sisters, like, fuck you, buddy, lighting his ass on fire, kind of like their mom. They were trying to kind of help Alana, but were kind of blocked a little bit. That kind of helped unseal that kind of block as they fucking flambéed his ass. Perrin threatened to kill Patton Payne, like, you're scared. Just tell these people to fuck off and get out of here. One thing I could see is that budget-wise, they went more with a couple of Trollocs, but more men. I don't mind that as long as they're using their budget effectively. If you're saving up budget for like utilizing a fuck ton of Trollocs and fades and shit like that later on, that's cool. Use that for the final and last battle. I'm good with that. Let's see. So Perrin then does give himself up, and everybody's like, no. We see that Loial decides to, during the battle, sacrifice himself to close the ways. It was cool to kind of see him and Bane and Chiad. They tried to do the Maiden's Kiss. Pretty much he was trying to release them from their obligation to be with him. However, they kind of turn it around, and they are badass motherfuckers. They got like great little scene-stealing moments that they would go through as they're like talking with the Spirit Maiden kind of speak with the kind of hand gestures and what they kind of their kind of observations and everything, and then seeing them just be badass to hold the way gateway as Loial decides to go in and smash the bridge, and it seems like he's dead. We also got another kind of character death, but yet I go along the lines of if I don't see the body completely and see it kind of like actually have repercussions and shit, like Swain Sanchi. We'll see how that kind of works out, because Loial was important in the books, so is Swain Sanchi, so we'll have to see how that kind of works out here. So I kind of looked that Loial could have fallen to a kind of lower level in the ways. He was pretty much making sure that the reinforcements wouldn't come for the Two Rivers. So we see that the Two Rivers was able to overcome their adversity and kind of become the Manetheren of old. It was really kind of cool that instead of that Maxim gave the speech more to him, but Perrin led them in the kind of Manetheren song before the battle. I was like, that fits Perrin's style more. So we'll see how that kind of goes if it continues on and where it kind of goes from there. So with the tower, we see Swain Sanchi is like, we need to find more of the Black Aja. And then, of course, Elida kind of introduces herself and be like, fuck this bitch. She evidently went through this red gateway, which is important because we'll see that later on. Because linked up with Matt. Matt is nuts. He's like saying, I blew the horn of Valir, trying to get booty every which way. Doing this little fucking flicky thing with his... One of the funniest things. The actor for Matt is amazing here. I'm glad that we got him because he's like... Fucking... He's fluffing up his like chest hair in this one scene, and it made me laugh out fucking loud. I was like, "Oh my god, you little turd goblin!" But that's when he's not speaking in the old tongue and being assailed with all these memories and shit. And we see that Min does have a vision of him hanging between the two red arches. Like, what the fuck? All right, now it's been a while since I've read the books, but I know that that's important to his kind of character arc in the Elfin. As we also get introduced that Elida had a thing with the Elfin, and I kind of liked linking those kind of up. We'll have to see what she got from them and what kind of goes on there, because we do get some flashbacks on certain kind of things, seeing how Suan took over the tower and Elida got screwed over. We also see things in the IO Waste, which are pretty interesting, which we'll get to that later. But we see that Nynaeve and Elaine are left here, and that they're the only two that Swain Senchi can trust. So they pretty much go, and we see that the Black Aja had taken some Angreals from the vaults and everything. They try to interrogate the Black Aja that they have, but that doesn't really work out very much. But it's in what they're not kind of saying, learning more stuff from Leandrin, going to Leandrin's son's kind of place, learning to go to Tenchinko. And Matt's like, fine, I'll go with you guys. And Min decides to go as well, sailing and getting more into the sea folk and learning about their channeling. I do like seeing more of the kind of different kind of channelers around that. It's not just the Aes Sedai. And we see that with the sea folk women doing their kind of channeling there. We also see that in the Wise Ones in the Aiel Waste. So they pretty much take a ship. Nynaeve has severe seasickness, and they kind of get in there. They're trying to find things about where Leandrin is, and then looking up and trying to find this Idam that would be used to collar a male channeler. That's what Leandrin is attempting to do. Makedian is attempting to pretty much get the same kind of stuff as well. Fucking around with Leandrin's Black Aja, and Leandrin's pretty much trying to be like, I want to be a weaker kind of chosen, motherfucker. That way you don't have to be the weakest one, Makedian. It's like, yeah, find the rest of this shit. All the thing is, Matt and his group are able to find it, and also link up with Tom Maryland, which is, like, interesting. We also get introduced to Morghese and, Robin, but he is posing as Gabriel, Morghese's lover. We get introduced also that her like war secession and how she kind of took over, and the brothers of Elaine, Gawain, and Galad. I went too far. Galad and Gawain, yeah. That was a nice kind of fight that Matt was able to have with them with staff. That was pretty good. So, and that's the thing. Action scenes in this season are pretty decent. I mean, there's a little bit more cutting and jumping that I would like, but it's not to the point where it's like, I don't know what's going on and I have no understanding of the flow of what's happening. They do a pretty decent job of that, and we see a lot of kind of cool stuff, especially with the channeling bits in the beginning, and then when we get to some stuff towards the end. Alright. So they get there, Matt and them are able to get one. The Black Aja gets another one, and they're kind of sneaking in this kind of palace and trying to find what's going on. We also get Leandrin's backstory, which makes her more sympathetic, but she's doing stupid-ass bullshit. And then we got another Black Aja pretty much toying with this thing that makes balefire. It's like, oh, shit. And that's an important kind of one. It's kind of an escalation that you kind of need in the book, especially since it's a thing that is utilized by the One Power that can, like, erase things from the pattern. As we also see a Dark Friend breaking their oath in the Aiel Waste, and their soul being removed from the pattern as well. Cool ass effects with that. Fucked up to see it happen to someone, though. So, they're able to also find the collar then. However, Leandrin's looking for the actual collar in its full form, which we have learned in the previous season with the Sonchan, that it looks like a regular kind of ring at first and then is put on and creates that kind of thing. However, Leandrin is able to take it, attempts to kill Nynaeve, but she, of course, gets to her break, partying to the Red Sea kind of thing, gets out, it's like, okay. Matt gets put into the thing with the Elfin and pretty much gets a protection amulet from the One Power, gets his memories changed up so he doesn't have all those things assailing his brain, but it fucks up and creates holes in his memory, and he gets punted out and hanged, but Min is able to kind of help him. I do like putting Min together with Matt a little bit more. It's like, okay, it's at least working in this adaptation for me. It was interesting that Avienda and Elaine were kind of put together as well, so we'll see how that kind of works out. And of course, the wedge being driven between Egwene and Rand by Moraine and Lanfear, as they kind of worked together to kind of like push them away, and Rand pretty much kind of throwing this kind of into Moraine's face, but then coming to the realization that she has been trying to help him and not try to control him, even though she's doing kind of control ass shit. But they do kind of come to an understanding at the end, as we see them kind of going into the Aiel Waste. Right. That's where that ends. Swain pretty much gets deposed by Elida and stripped of the One Power, stilled, and then killed. And that is a gnarly kind of one, as we see Moraine kind of dealing with Lanfear and then feeling her death as that kind of goes on. And then her attempting to kill and pretty much almost killing Lanfear before Lanfear teleports herself out. We see that Rand is learning more about the Aiel and trying to figure out what's kind of going on with them, getting a kind of little repertoire with this little girl before Samael pretty much... that's after he kind of goes to Ruidian and learns about the whole kind of history of... of his ancestors, mainly his father, going back further, seeing the Aiel being from the Way of the Leaf and accidentally killing people, and mainly linking it to Rand's actor going through and still playing these kind of characters, which is really kind of cool. And we also see that Avienda and Moraine go through these circles and go through all these kind of like future kind of scenarios where Rand's going through the past and gets the dragon tattoos. We also see someone else learning it and digging his fucking eyes out, bringing the Shidao and Savannah into play. It's like, okay, we'll see how this goes, because that was important in the books. I'm like, all right, let's see this work out, as he learns everything, goes to even the moment where Lanfear, before she was Lanfear, is going through and doing the experiment, and of course breaking into the Dark One's prison, and started off all that kind of shit. And it's like, oh fuck. But it was kind of cool seeing Rand kind of get his way through those glass pillars. We see the tree of a fuck that up. The Sarkarnan and the tree. Let me see. Yeah, Moraine sees that after she goes through the circles and sees all these different kind of potential deaths. Avienda went because she was pretty much a maiden of the spear, but she was also has the ability to channel, and they're like, fucking go do your shit. It's like... But we see how that has made the trees, everything, like saving the tree, creating this kind of place, creating the stone pillar, the glass pillars, sorry. And what is kind of going on here? We see that mainly Elida wants to chain and control the Dragon Reborn, where Swain Sanchi wanted to work with him. So this is not going to be good for the White Tower, as we see them wanting to kind of move on to that. I know I kind of made a tangent, but when I was looking at this, I'm like, oh yeah, that's an important kind of bit there. That is central and linked up with Elida, especially since she's a red. Let's see, that... And then we see them kind of, him learning more about the Aiel. And then Egwene pretty much having her quest and learning about Lanfear trying to kill her, learning from the wise ones, and then seeing everything kind of going on. Entering people's dreams against their wills, and of course that's where she sees Lanfear, and Rand kind of confronts him on that, and he's like, I didn't know. Lanfear's like, did you like that little show? And he knows everything I'm doing. He's like, no, I didn't know that. And of course they then lay a trap for her and like make her really pissed off. Samael pops him like, I'm gonna kill you, bitch! And Rand's like, fuck you, and decides to pretty much drop a house on him. However, the little girl was there, and we see Rand just be like, all I do is destroy, but I should also be able to create, as he's attempting to use the power and tries to bring her back, but it's not working. And I do like a little part where Rand is able to explain to Moraine, it's like, yeah, you don't know what I have to deal with this. Like, it's the sweetness of the power, but it's tainted, and him trying to like fight this and fight the kind of madness and everything like that. It's like, it's gonna be nuts when he starts going kind of crazy, as we've seen other people kind of dealing with it and other kind of representations from those futures. It's like, oh shit. So we then see them laying more of a kind of trap. The dark friend from Malkir pretty much telling Lan and kind of breaking hers to the dark one to kind of give him a little bit more of an edge, so Moraine can like battle and really fight Lanfear. However, she feels so insane she's dead, and then just goes ham-ass motherfucker, and Lanfear's like, I'm out. And we see that Lanfear has set up a fake false dragon with the Shaidao, but Rand decides to then, because the clan chiefs were like, please don't say this shit. But that's the only kind of way for him to get, since the Shaidao motherfucker didn't go through him and doesn't know what's going on. He then, of course, brings up the whole thing of them being oath breakers and getting the whole splitting of the Aiel, and Tim making it rain and everything, and Egwene trying to like figure out what's going on. Moraine actually kind of working with him, and Egwene not really understanding what to do with him. And the thing is, it's kind of funny that like their relationship's pretty much like shot through this season, because Rand kind of recognized that she's got her eyes on other kind of things, and that him even being the Dragon Reborn isn't enough for her, and then kind of coming to a kind of parting like that. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's a definitely kind of complicated kind of relationship that they had, mainly at least presented here in the adaptation. So it's like, yeah, you both fucking did some weird ass, stupid ass shit. I mean, you could not fuck with Lanfear in your dreams. Now, him getting with Lanfear in the first place before he knew she was Lanfear, that's a different kind of matter. It's like they were on a break kind of shit. And he was trying to make sure that he wasn't near them so he wouldn't go mad and fucking kill his loved ones. But when you're pretty much with Egwene, even though she's having nightmares about, like, the Sanchan and shit like that, try and do something without, like, fucking a crazy-ass lady that now wants to fucking kill you, as she's at first trying to get people on her side from the Forsaken, and we get Robin, Samael, Maghedian popping up, what else? Yeah. Those seem to be about the main ones. Yeah. We also get in Tonchenko that Tom is able to tell Elaine that, like, who the fuck's Gabriel? And because he'd been with the court for a while, kept tabs on it, and Elaine's like, what are you talking about? And of course, Robin. Who else was it? Because Lanfear had a little kind of meaning. This is the kind of, like, downside to, like, doing the whole season. There's a whole lot of shit that sometimes pops up. But it is kind of cool. They did capture Samael, and we're going to attempt to do, like, the Asmodeus kind of thing, and have, I guess, Samael teach Rand how to channel, because if you still and fuck up all of the male channelers because they might go mad, he doesn't really have somebody to teach him. However, Maghedian killed his ass horrendously, so that ain't fucking happening. I don't think it was really going to happen. Anyways, it's like, yeah, I got this scar because of Luther and Talmon, motherfucker. Ah! It's like, alright, you kind of an asshole. Wait. But we do have more Forsaken on the field. Grendel and Simmerhage were also name dropped, however not seen, so we'll see how this kind of works out, what Robin's kind of game plan is going to be. since he seemed like he was an alright person with Elaine, that doesn't mean everything. So, it'll be interesting to see what kind of ripple effects if we see that Loyal is actually dead, if Swain Sashi is actually dead, because they had important kind of bits in the story. However, since the Wheel of Time is done, there could be certain kind of things that are cut and streamlined that I think would work out pretty better. I mean, at least we don't have Nynaeve braid pulling all the time. We don't have Egwene being spanked the whole time. White Tower kind of stuff. I mean, I get it to a certain extent, but like, I'm like, Jordan, fuck me. I get it. Alright? Move on. Embroidery. Like, book where I was like, no, fuck all, nothing happened. So, this kind of remixing mainly only kind of works in this kind of instance. So we'll see how this kind of adaptation goes if they continue on with it. I hope they do, because I actually really enjoyed this season, and I think that the changes worked more for it as a positive rather than a negative. Now, if you disagree and thought this was complete and utter shit, that's alright. That's cool. I understand that. I was just surprised at how much I liked the execution of what was kind of going on in the changes, especially with the linking up of learning of the Aiel, being from the Way of the Leaf, and linking that with Arm's kind of journey and him kind of leaving the path of the leaf. We'll see how that kind of works out, but I hope they are given the chance to explore that and kind of reshuffle how they usually do it. I'm not always a proponent of that. However, there are certain kind of things in the Wheel of Time that, like, can we just have the important kind of bits, please, and see where that kind of goes and how that can kind of work out here. We also saw some cool stuff with Avienda channeling. She picked swords for a reason, I thought, instead of spears, when she was like doing the one power with, not when like Samael was doing like this crazy ass shit. She was even downplaying swords because we'd seen Lan and Rand training with their heron marked blades and everything. So I was like, what? Now, I could have completely and utterly seen her incorrectly, and if that's the case, let me know. But I really enjoyed this and had fun with it, and really liked seeing the actors and the content and everything kind of like flow together and work. This kind of clicked more for me, and I'm happy for that. Now, if that didn't click for you, that's cool. Don't like it, and just be like, I ain't wasting my time with this shit. That's cool. If any of what I'm saying here is like turning you off, like you saw the you saw the first 2 seasons, and you're like, I don't know if I want to check this out, and you're kind of iffy on that, I would just say no. Now, I liked it for what they kind of did with the lore, the world building, and the character development. This all hit for me, and the action worked out pretty well. We got lots of interesting, cool moments, and a lot of payoffs, and I'm hoping we get that continuing going forward. So, those are my opinions on the season. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.